Okay, well, if you want to, you can.
So we want to start this episode off because Chase dialed into the Squadcast here, which we use for recording the show, and said, "Man, these robot girlfriends are taking over the world." I had no context. We weren't talking about this before. It was just suddenly that was the topic of conversation. So I guess enlighten us, Chase. What do you know? I'm sure not from firsthand experience. It sounds like you're selling to one of these companies. What do you got?
Well, I got, we tried on our episode with Richard Harris. I mean, he told us that he had an AI bot out there, and I was like, man, these things are coming for us. But no, we at my day job, I've had 2 inbounds come in, and it's these AI girlfriends or companions, and they can be like, it's pretty that,
Is it like a subscription service? Like, is it a SaaS?
It's a SaaS. It's
robot
a SaaS.
robot
SaaS
girlfriend
company, and SaaS, and also you pay either like a one-time fee and then you buy tokens, or you can do a monthly. There's some ARR there, there's some MRR there, there's some upfronts, down sells, cross sells, upgrades.
It's a whole new SaaS category, RGAS. Robot girlfriend as a service,
and boyfriends,
or RBAS,
and them,
yeah,
it's non-binary, so it can be whoever you want. It can be a actual like OnlyFans type person. It can be an anime. It can be whatever you want, and they could be nice.
Wow.
They can be mean, whatever you want. You can program them. It's like a chat GDP or whatever person. So I don't know where our world's going, and I don't know anything about this. I just sell software. So
yeah, I mean, look, AI is going to change the footprint, whether that's through your, girlfriend, boyfriend, automated girlfriend or boyfriend, but also just in terms of the SaaS landscape, it will make an impact. I know a lot of people out there don't think that it will make an impact for a long time, or they don't think that it will completely replace sellers or marketers or whatever, right? Therapist. But look, it's going to make some big changes. And I'm personally okay with a lot of those changes because I think in some cases it frees up people to do more meaningful work, more strategic work, more creative work. I think I already say creative, but like more strategic and creative work versus like the tasks that, should be automated. Things like, updating a CRM or something like that nobody really wants to do in sales, but you got to do it. So
yeah, and we talked to ZyraTalk, the guys over there.
Yeah.
Brad with AI chatbots, AI phone calls. I mean, I think it's just people are getting overwhelmed. They don't really want to answer these like ranting chats on this, and so I mean, it's
yeah, and in my world too, it's also the play of historically, like let's say you run a customer service team. It doesn't matter what kind of company. It could be a plumbing company. It could be a retail company. It could be a bank. You could only service people during business hours. Now with AI, you can do that 24/7. If someone at 2 a.m. needs to check something on their Chase bank account, they could do that through, automation and things like that. So it's pretty crazy. It will definitely impact sales. It sounds like it'll definitely impact the dating world. So I guess we'll see where that goes. Well, on to the topic for today. So we were brainstorming a little bit before this episode, and I thought it'd be fun to do just a quick rapid fire. Chase and I are going to share the 3 tools for sales and business development that we cannot exist without for sales. So the cliche would be we're trapped on a deserted island. Just kidding. No, if we're trapped on a deserted island, I don't give a shit about sales tools.
Oh, I don't know.
I'll take a machete at that point. Okay. But yeah, so what are the
Starlink.
3? Starlink would be.
Hey, I live in the middle of Kentucky and nowhere, and I purchased the Starlink just to have and it's in my fucking closet. So if the internet, everything goes out, I can just pull that thing out. I'm going to get a generator at the house and just be able to still be live.
You'll turn into like the radio, like the AM radio host that's like, we're broadcasting live from rural Kentucky.
And
the world is over.
Well, I'm like, these things, okay, this is just where my mind goes. And I know, Jesse, I'm always like coming up with ideas. This is a rant. But I'm like, you know what? I could potentially, there's two things that I could do with having this piece of equipment. First off, I could actually rent this out. So like if people are doing like rural, like if film producers or a company is, needing to go have internet, they could rent it from a weekly basis from me. So it's sort of like one of these like, just assets to have to where you could rent it out. So maybe if anybody out there, if you have the idea of like renting tools, like one thing that I was actually thinking about too, like when we go to Florida is like renting a Peloton, just like on a weekly basis or like an Airbnb as like a business. So if
that'd be cool.
that, I don't know.
A lot of that opportunity on that. I never thought about that with the Starlink or like renting a Wi-Fi apparatus of sorts. That's cool.
Big business.
So kick us off. What's, a tool, one of 3 tools that you could not do your job, sell deals, generate pipeline without?
The number one, and they're not a sponsor of me yet, is Calendly. And Calendly is gold. It is gold.
So you use that not only for your day job, but we also, of course, use it here for sales players, booking our guests and clients and things like that. But talk to us about where it's most valuable.
Most valuable, the way I use it in my day-to-day is I have the Calendly app on my iPhone. So I can go in there, and with my day job, I have tons of inbounds, and I can see every single meeting that I have. I can qualify or unqualify, I can disqualify meetings, and we have it to where we have like a lot of automation. So it'll text people to make sure that they show up to the meeting. Also, it'll have like a post-call flow. So basically, it's sort of like a mini CRM. So that's one way I use it. So qualified and disqualifying meetings. For me, prospecting on LinkedIn, I have the Chrome extension on LinkedIn where it's actually in my DMs, and I can just click it, and then I can just book a 15 or 30-minute call, just drop that link in there. I can do the, anybody can book, or I can do the one-time link, and that just makes it quick. Cool. And then I have it on the my calendar, my Gmail as well. So I don't know. I throw out that link everywhere, and never know who will book on your meeting link. And it's like, I don't know. Like last week, I had a person that I work with, and they were asking a client like, "Can you meet on these 2 days next week?" And I'm like, "Why don't you just put your calendar link in there? It's just easier to book.
Yeah.
You don't have to go back. It's like make your meeting as frictionless to book as possible."
Yeah. Yep. Another thing I'm realizing just offhand here is with Calendly, you're capturing a lot of emails, and emails are a form of gold, right? Like it's important for anyone listening out there, whether you're just like a frontline seller in a tech company or a media company, or you're trying to start something or grow an audience, emails are very important right now, especially, just a good thing to keep saved, build a Rolodex, build a network, an audience. So love it. I'll share mine. This one might be a little obvious, but it's LinkedIn. Oh. I can't live without LinkedIn. I know that's, it's crazy to say that though, when I look back at my career, because when I started out in sales back in 2012, there was LinkedIn. It existed. Don't get me wrong, but people weren't necessarily using it for selling. Mm-hmm. They were using it as a job search thing. It was a place to host your resume and you could find a job. Right. And it was around like 2014, 2015. Actually, I worked for a woman at the time, Lindsay Boggs, shout out. And she wrote an article on LinkedIn about how she gets a 50% response rate from InMail. And I don't remember when they rolled InMail out, but I know that article went viral. She ended up getting invited to LinkedIn's conference, and she like went on stage with Shaquille O'Neal and shot baskets with him. Is crazy. All because of a blog post she wrote that went super viral. And she was just using InMail to ping executives. And because no one was really doing it, there was very few people on LinkedIn using it for that business case. She would get these crazy response rates. And so she taught our team how to do it. I was an SDR on her team, and she taught us how to do it. It was awesome. So I started using it back then, but even then it went also through kind of a saturation period. Mm-hmm. But now I think we're back to where it's so broadly accepted and adopted that I get a really high response rate. In 2024, I get a really high response rate from the people I reach out to on LinkedIn. I just heard from an executive at a major broadcast media company this week. I've pinged people at a lot of my target accounts. I connect with them often. I follow them on Sales Navigator, keep notes on them. I can build org charts in LinkedIn. And then I have real-time data on my buyers, because one of the things that's frustrating in enterprise sales is you can hone in on a specific person. Maybe they're the vice president of something and they're the exec sponsor, but then they change jobs, and your CRM's not going to keep up to date with that information, but LinkedIn will, because they're going to update their LinkedIn and say, hey, now I'm over at this company and now I can go try to sell to them there. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's real-time insights into my buyers. I get a very high response rate on InMail. Of course, I use it for posting content, sharing podcast episodes, sharing insights I have, sharing ideas and stories and things like that. And because of that, it's like this flywheel where sharing on LinkedIn creates a bigger network, and then that bigger network allows you to get a higher response rate from people you reach out to, because there's this like name brand recognition. So can't live without LinkedIn. It is my number one sales tool.
LinkedIn is gold, and I think a lot of people are still sleeping on it. And I think one other thing with our listeners is it goes across every source. So if you're looking for a role, if you're looking for leads, if you're looking for a mentor, if you're looking for advice, it crosses all those channels, and it's not as much BS as you'll see on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. I think that there is a little bit more politeness to LinkedIn that I like, and it helped me, it's helped me land jobs, land deals. And one thing that I've been seeing is, I don't know if this is just something with the LinkedIn algorithm or something, but it's like if you email somebody, they're going to see your post. If you're in their like DMs in LinkedIn, or you're connecting on there, they're going to see your stuff. So when you're prospecting, not only think about the things that you're posting, because they could be actually seeing those posts, and it's just another touch point. And yeah, another opportunity for people, just real quick. I know we got like 10 minutes. We got to jam through this list, but these like, if you've been invited to contribute to one of these articles on LinkedIn that turn you into a thought leader, I would recommend just spending a few minutes doing that. I need to actually go and write a few of them, but LinkedIn will send you a ping saying, hey, you might be a thought leader on this topic. And it'll be something like pipeline generation or closing deals or setting up CRMs, whatever it is. I would recommend going to do that, because I'm realizing those get a lot of reach. I see a lot of views when I post on those. And then if you do enough of them, you get a little merit badge on your profile. So a little piece of advice there. And don't get hung up on impressions. Yeah, don't get hung up on the impressions, and just continuously post. And it's okay. You got to start from somewhere. And it's better to start yesterday, but today, if you haven't started, just do it today. Yep. All right, what's tool number 2 on your list? Slack. I was going to say that one. Talk to us about Slack. Slack is a money maker for Chase. I freak people out when they look at my Slack when I share it. I have about 15 different channels in there. It's a place for me to prospect. It's a place for me to talk to my leadership. It's a place for me to talk to the sales players people. Keep documentation. Huddle. The huddle feature is probably the number one feature that I love with Slack. Slack is not a sponsor of the show. Would love them to be. No, not yet. Not yet. But yeah, I'm in the sales players. What is it called? It's a Slack. It's a good one. It's a good free community. If you're not in there, it's free to join. It's called the Sales Blazers community. It's a Salesforce community. Has about 7,000 people in there, and it's just cool to be in there and just see like an active Slack community. I'm also in VC groups. Yeah. I'm in startup groups. The sales players Slack channel, obviously. I'm in the P Club and Hyros, and yeah. It is like an underrated platform, I think. And yeah, shameless plug for the sales players free Slack community. Join us in there. You have access to us. Yeah, you have access to us, and in your case, you've got access to people that are in all of those groups you just slide in those DMs like nobody's business. Yeah. Here's another interesting use case for Slack that I've actually wanted to talk about for a while. Is something I started doing a number of years ago when I was at a startup. Was you can connect your Slack with an external company's Slack. So if you have a prospect and you're selling a B2B deal, you can get your buyers into your Slack channel. I'm literally doing this right now. It's amazing because if you think about follow-up, it's super easy to just send somebody a Slack note and say, hey, can you meet tomorrow? We need to review the proposal or this or that, right? And I started doing this back in 2018, I think. I was at a startup, and the founder
it was a very technical product we were selling, and the founder's like, let's just get people into our Slack. We have nothing to lose. Like, we can help them with their technical problems. And then we would get people in there, and then they would start asking questions like, all right, well, how much does this cost? And can we quickly hop on a huddle and review the proposal? And then can we build this? And like, it just makes it so easy. Love it, man.
Yeah. What's your go-to second tech stack?
Yeah. So similar to Slack, text messaging and WhatsApp.
Ooh,
and I lump those into the same thing.
Yes.
Mobile messaging.
Yes.
Again, obvious stuff. We are not, this episode is not us like plugging like the future state of like sales apps and tools. We'll do another episode on that, like what we're seeing coming down the pipeline. But for me, texting is like
gold.
You've got to use it. It's gold. WhatsApp is the same thing if you're doing international deals.
Yeah, you have to use it. Have to.
Yeah. As soon as you get your buyers onto one of those mobile channels, it's that's a very positive signal in your deals that you've got the trust and authenticity built up with your buyer, that they trust you enough to exchange, mobile messages with you. They trust you not to blow them up at like 1 a.m, which don't do that.
Well, make sure the time zone is good. Sometimes I blow up people in Dubai at, 3 a.m., but hey, they need to sign on.
I haven't had a lot of success with cold outreach through mobile messaging, but once you're in a relationship with a buyer, it's amazingly effective to get stuff done. And you can share a lot of information very quickly. And again, it's a very strong sign of trust in the deal. So I couldn't live without SMS, texting, or WhatsApp.
And sending that voice memo is cool too. And I'd say like a hack is like within your Calendly setup is like have them set up the text automation. So then you already got them on their phone, you texting them to say, hey, the meeting's here. After the meeting, make sure you text them back and say, great to meet you. Then you're boom there, or WhatsApp, whatever. Oh.
Yeah. All right. What's your final entry on the list here?
What is the final entry on this list? This is a tough one. I'm going to have to say AppSumo. We're going to be talking to them on Friday.
It's tomorrow.
And I got to plug them. It's an old tool, and it's like I'm trying to look for some other tools. But I think AppSumo is a good place. Also, G2 might be another tool, but the number 3 is really not that important for me. Those are the two. I mean, really, what you've shared is like those are my go-to.
Yeah, my last one is a plug because they are a partner of the show, which is Surf with an E. I've talked about Surf for a long time. I got connected to their team through a member of our Slack community. Shout out, Andreas. But so they, one of the most important things you need besides like a good messaging channel tool, LinkedIn, all those things is like a data source. And Surf makes that part easy because you can actually pull data from LinkedIn into your CRM really quickly. And they've actually just put out a new product called Lighthouse that's, again, more on the data side of things. It's super critical to have a database of who your buyers are so you can access their firmographic info. That was a big word. Their phone number, their email, their title, and all those things. Again, that stuff can change. That's why Surf's really great because it builds into the LinkedIn ecosystem so you can keep fresher data. But I find it super valuable to go in and be able to pull that kind of insight. So we'll leave a link there in the show notes for that. I think that's a wrap. I know we've got to jump off here in a minute or two. Anything else, Chase? Any other tools, ideas before we wrap?
After you were saying that, I was like, Kajabi is a really good one. So I'm in part of Chris Orlob's paid community, and he has a Kajabi that's like his course plan. So like if you're looking to build courses, also like Scott Leese had a course on there. I love Kajabi, and it's just something that's like sort of Netflix, but for sales stuff. So till next time, meet us on Slack. Yeah. Follow us on LinkedIn, and if you want to book a meeting on Calendly, go ahead and do it. Till next time, see you guys. Thanks for listening.
Take care, all.